Good afternoon, children.
Good afternoon.
Last period we have completed the different abiotic factors and the 4 abiotic factors that affect the distribution of living organisms are light, temperature, soil and water. Next we are going to learn how organisms are adapted to these abiotic factors. Okay, let's begin. And all those who are prepared for the seminar, you can take it next day. A few more can also, all those who are assigned to take seminar, all should come prepared next day. Okay, I think 5 were there. Responses to abiotic factors. So how these organisms or what are the adaptations present in different living organisms to withstand these abiotic factors? We'll see one by one. Organisms maintain a constant internal environment. So maintenance of a constant internal environment, you call it as homeostasis. So homeostasis is a process by which organisms, they maintain a constant internal environment. Whatever be the external conditions, they will maintain a stable internal environment, and that process is known as homeostasis. So irrespective of the abiotic factors in the surroundings, they maintain a constant internal environment which you call as homeostasis, and this is possible. So how this is made possible? That is by different adaptations, and based on these adaptations we categorize them into 4 types: regulate, conform, then migrate, and the 4th, suspend. So these are the different groups of organisms, or we can classify the organisms based on the adaptations developed by them, and the 4 categories include regulate, conform, migrate and suspend, and you will be learning about each of these categories in detail. I'll repeat once again, whatever be the external abiotic factors or external climatic conditions, irrespective of that, living organisms, they maintain a constant internal environment, and this process is known as homeostasis. And based on the adaptations shown by these organisms towards the environmental conditions, we categorize them into 4: conform, regulate, migrate and suspend. So let's learn each one in detail. First one, regulate. It is the maintenance of homeostasis by physiological and behavioral means. So there are different adaptations, both physiologically, internally, as well as in terms of behavior. Some adaptations, some changes are developed, and these adaptations will enable them to maintain a constant internal environment. So regulate animals, or those who are coming, or those organisms coming under this category, they will maintain a constant internal environment by means of several physiological and behavioral methods. And it helps in maintaining a constant body temperature. Say for example, human beings, we have a body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius, irrespective of the external conditions, except in a few cases when you are suffering from fever and all, your body temperature can fluctuate. Other than that, your body temperature is maintained constantly, or it is maintained at 37 degrees Celsius. We have different mechanisms by means of which we maintain our body temperature at 37 degrees Celsius. You call it as thermoregulation, regulating the body temperature, and constant osmotic concentration. Osmotic concentration is the concentration of the solute concentration. So with the help of these different physiological and behavioral method, regulate animals, they maintain or they carry out thermoregulation and osmoregulation, or else there are different physiological and behavioral methods by means of which regulate animals carry out a stable osmotic concentration, and even thermoregulation is brought about by these mechanisms. Example, all birds and mammals, very few lower vertebrates, and invertebrates, they carry out or they come under the category of regulate organisms. So what is special about regulate organisms? They will maintain a constant body temperature irrespective of the external environmental conditions, and for this they adopt different physiological and behavioral methods, and they carry out thermoregulation and osmoregulation. Thermoregulation means regulation of body temperature. Osmoregulation means regulating the solute concentration, especially that of salts and all. They maintain it or they regulate it so that they can carry out the normal activities. And organism examples for organisms coming under this category include birds, mammals, lower vertebrates, and also invertebrates. Very few lower vertebrates and invertebrates, but all birds and mammals come under this category. Now we'll see some of the mechanism by means of which they maintain homeostasis, or they maintain a stable temperature or stable internal environment. Thermoregulation in mammals. The success of mammals is mainly due to their ability to maintain a constant body temperature. And what do you mean by warm-blooded animals? Nandana, what are warm-blooded animals? What is special about warm-blooded animals? You may say, I will read your lips. Okay, Nandana, say. You're able to hear me, no? You say the answer, no problem. What are warm-blooded animals? You know the answer? No. Who can say? It is very simple, no? You have learned in lower classes the differences between cold-blooded and warm-blooded animals. Who can tell me the answer? Where is our birthday baby? Is she there? Steffi, can you say?
They have hemoglobin.
Yes, say.
Hemoglobin.
Who else can say? Someone else try. Punya? They maintain a stable body temperature. That's what you said, no? Yes, they maintain a stable. I think I should read lip reading also now. Then Nandana can say what are cold-blooded then. Now you got a clue, no? She said warm-blooded animals, they will maintain a stable body temperature irrespective of the external temperature. Then what are cold-blooded animals? They maintain a stable body temperature, or will it fluctuate? Fluctuate, yes, it will fluctuate according to the external temperature. So the success of mammals is mainly due to their ability to maintain a constant body temperature. It is energy consuming, but still they are capable of managing, or they are capable of maintaining a stable body temperature. Some of the examples or some of the adaptations which they show to maintain a stable body temperature are as follows. In summer, you know what is special about summer? It will be very hot, and during this hot climate, or when the temperature is very high, you know, it will be more than the body temperature. It can go up to 40 and all. So when it is more than, I think at times it goes beyond 40 degrees Celsius in peak time and all. So then the body temperature is only 37 degrees Celsius. And when the external temperature is too high, then we start sweating. So when we sweat, for the evaporation of sweat from our body, what is needed? Energy, heat is used up. So heat will be absorbed from your body for the evaporation of the sweat, and that will reduce your body temperature and bring it down, or the body temperature will be brought down to the normal level. This results in evaporative cooling and brings down your body temperature. That is one mechanism by means of which we maintain our normal body temperature. And on the other hand, when it is very cold during winter season, when the temperature goes below your body temperature, then you will shiver. Because of the cold climate, you will start shivering. So when shivering is carried out, that will generate energy and will help in maintaining or increasing your body temperature to the normal level. It produces heat and increases the body temperature. So these are some of the common adaptations by means of which mammals maintain a normal body temperature. I'll repeat once again. The success of mammals, or one of the important feature of mammals, is that they are capable of maintaining a constant body temperature, or else you can say they are warm-blooded animals. And two adaptations shown by them. In summer, when the external temperature is more than the body temperature, they will sweat profusely, and sweating results in cooling, evaporative cooling. When the sweat has to be evaporated from the body, it needs heat energy. And as a result, the body temperature will be lowered to the normal level, to 37 degrees Celsius. Similarly, in winter, the external temperature will be lower than your body temperature. So in order to increase your body temperature to the normal level, you will shiver. That shivering will generate heat, which will help in increasing our body temperature. Hope you are following. Again, continuing with regulate organisms, thermoregulation, as I told you, maintaining the body temperature, is energetically expensive, especially for small animals. For example, shrew. Shrew is a mammal which resembles a mouse. Like you can see, it is having very small eyes and a pointed snout, as you can see in the picture. And hummingbird. Hummingbird picture is also there. It's a very tiny bird. And these two animals, these two are the examples mentioned about small animals. So thermoregulation, maintaining a body temperature, requires so much of energy, or it is energetically very expensive in case of small animals. Why? Because when compared to their volume, body volume, they have got a very large surface area. The body, the large surface area for the evaporation of heat, heat can be lost from their body. For that, they have got a large surface area. When compared to the body volume, the surface area will be more. This will result in severe energy loss from their body. They will lose their body heat very fast, and then they have to maintain it to the normal temperature. They will find it very difficult. So they have to spend so much of energy. So when energy is being lost from their body, then they will have to regenerate. So again, they have to generate body heat, and that can be very expensive, energetically very expensive. And that is why we find small animals very rarely in polar regions. In polar regions, the temperature is very low. And if small animals are found in polar regions, their body heat, they will be losing it fast, because when compared to their volume, they have a large surface area for the escape of heat from their body. And then to maintain heat, or then to generate body heat, they have to spend a lot of energy. And that is the reason why small animals are rarely found in polar regions. So all these can be asked as reasoning questions. So all these you should note it down. Okay, why small animals are rarely found in polar regions? The reason is, when compared to their volume, they have got a large surface area. So when surface area is more, so more amount of body heat can escape from their surface, and as a result, they will have to generate body heat to compensate for that, and that can become energetically highly expensive for them. So that is the reason why small animals are rarely found in which habitat? Colder regions or polar regions. And here, this is not from your textbook, just to make you understand how the ratio between surface area and volume is becoming more when in case of a smaller organism. See here, you can see two cubes. Okay, two cubes are given, and surface area and volume of both these two cubes are calculated. See, in the first case, the side is 1 centimeter. So how do you calculate surface area? 6a square. Yes? Am I right? Yes. So 6a square. So 6 into 1 square, that is equal to 6. Whereas in the second figure, The side is 2 centimeter. So 6 into 2 square, that is 6 into 4, 24. Okay. That is the surface area. So you can find the surface area is 6 for the smaller cube and 24 for the larger one. But if you take the volume, volume is calculated as a cube, side into side into side. So here you can see it is 1. 1 into 1 into 1 is 1 only. Whereas in the second figure it is 2 into 2 into 2. So that is 8. Now the ratio between surface area and volume, see here it is 6:1. Whereas for the larger cube, it is 3:1. This can be applied in the case of animals. When the body or when the animal is small in size, the surface area to volume ratio will be more when compared to that of larger animals. That is the reason why they are losing too much heat when compared to larger animals. Hope you have understood the concept. Yes, Meenakshi? No, you want me to repeat it again? Yes. I think you were lost in thoughts in between. No? Somewhere you went and came. Am I right? Yes or no? That's what I can make out from your face. Now listen, in the previous slide, I told you that small animals are rarely found in polar regions. Polar region, what is special there? The temperature is too low. And why small animals are rarely found there? The reason is, if you compare its surface area, the surface area of the body with its volume, that ratio between surface area and volume will be large for smaller animals. When compared to their body volume, they will have a large surface area. So when surface area is more, the surface for the escape of heat also will be more. They will easily lose heat from their body. When compared to their size is small, I understand. But at the same time, when you, in comparison with its volume, they have a large surface area. So they will lose more heat. Easily they can lose their body heat. So in order to generate heat again, they have to spend so much of energy. Whereas in the case of higher animals, it is not as much as when we compare with that of a smaller animal. And to make that concept clear, I have shown this. A small cube you can compare to a small animal. Large cube you just compare it with a large animal. So if you calculate the surface area to volume ratio, where that ratio is more in case of the smaller cube. So the surface area is 6, whereas the volume is just 1. Whereas in the large cube, the surface area is 3:1. So where that surface area is more in case of smaller cube. Are you getting? Meenakshi, somewhat clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anyone else is having doubt? I am ready to repeat if you want to. Have you understood? Evelyn? Yes, okay. So with that, we have completed regulate animals. Human beings come under which category? Regulate, conform, or migrate or suspend? Regulate. Okay. Next is about conform. 99% of the animals. So we know that we are coming under the category of regulate, but 99% of animals and almost all plants, they come under this category. They cannot maintain a constant internal environment, or they cannot maintain a constant body temperature. It keeps fluctuating with the external conditions or external environment. Their body temperature as well as osmotic concentration, the concentration of the solutes as well as the body temperature will keep on fluctuating depending upon the external conditions. Whereas in regulate animals, what did we learn? Whatever be the external temperature, whatever be the external conditions, the body temperature will be fixed and they will always try to maintain it to that same value. Whereas in case of conform animals, it keeps fluctuating depending upon the external condition. We call them as organisms as conformers. And conform is the category. In aquatic animals, you know, aquatic animals are found in different types of habitats, like based on the salinity, you can say some are found in fresh water, some in marine water, some in hypersaline lagoons. So the salinity and all can be different. Even in an aquatic habitat, there are different types of aquatic habitats. So osmotic concentration, the solute concentration of their body fluids will keep fluctuating depending upon the surrounding osmotic concentration. So there, the solute concentration of the body fluids will depend on the solute concentration of the surrounding medium. So they cannot maintain a stable osmotic concentration. They are not capable of osmoregulating it to a fixed level. It keeps fluctuating. So such organisms are conformers, or you call the category as conform. Okay, now this graph which is given here, it had been asked as an essay question, 3 marks question. They'll just give the graph and without labeling them, which one is regulators, partial regulators, conformers, all that you need to mark. So that graph is very important. Even though it seems to be very simple, you should understand it and then learn. Okay, otherwise you might get confused. Okay, here you can see children regulators. I told we come under the category of regulators. See, it is steady. Whatever be the external level, it is steady. You can see. It's a parallel line. It's a horizontal line. It is steady. Wait a minute. Let me take the pen. Okay. See, children, here you can see it is steady. It is see, it is no change for that. The internal level, whatever be the external level, internal level is steady. So that come under the category. Those organisms we call as regulators. See, conformers, and depending upon the external level, as the external level increases, their body temperature as well as osmotic concentration is getting fluctuated. Whereas see, in regulators, you cannot find any change. It is steady throughout. How much ever changes are there in the external level, it remains steady. Whereas in this one, it keeps fluctuating. And another category is there, partial regulators. So in partial regulators, that is not mentioned in the theory part, but still it is given in the graph. To certain extent, it keeps fluctuating. But after that, it becomes steady. In the beginning, it will fluctuate depending upon the external conditions, but after reaching a particular level, it remains steady. In aquatic animals, osmotic concentration of body fluids changes with that of the osmotic concentration because they come under the category of conformers. Have you understood? Shall I change? This graph is important. You mark it in the textbook. You need to learn that graph. So not many graphs are there, but whatever graphs are there, whichever graphs are there, you need to learn. All the diagrams are equally important. Then, migrate. Migrate. You know what is meant by migration? Yes, you know what is migration? Yes, Gayatri, tell me what is migration. Moving from one place to another. Oh, I am very smart. Moving from one place to another. I have become an expert in lip reading, I think. Moving from one place to another. Why do they move? Why they should move? When the conditions become unfavorable in a particular region, they'll move to an area where it is better for them, better environmental conditions. So when I list some examples, you will understand better. You know, some celebrities and all, like film stars and all, when here it is summer and all, they will move to some hill station, not in India, somewhere abroad. And they spend the time over there, and the climate is also nice there. And when everything gets back normal here, they'll return. Okay, that is not migration. Okay, I just said an example. Similarly, there are different organisms. So that you don't put under the category of migration. Okay, that is just a, what to say, abroad, they are just visiting, just for entertainment. Yeah, that you cannot consider as a migration. Just to make you understand the concept, I said. Okay, here, many animals like birds, they move away temporarily from a stressful habitat. Stressful in the sense that any factors, like it can be temperature or anything which doesn't make them, or which is not comfort, when they don't feel comfortable to survive there because of the change in the fluctuations in the environmental condition, they'll move to a better place where things are favorable. They survive there, they spend the time there till the conditions get back normal in their native place. So they move away temporarily from a stressful habitat to a more hospitable area. And then when that stressful period is over, or when the conditions get back to normal, they'll come back to their native place. One example is during winter, Kilado National Park, Bharatpur in Rajasthan host migratory birds coming from Siberia and other extremely cold northern regions. So Siberian cranes you might have heard. So from Siberia, when the climate is too cold there, they cannot withstand, they cannot survive there. They find it difficult there. And then they will come to Rajasthan where the temperature is higher, where the temperature is warmer. And they spend the time over here, and then once in Siberia the conditions are better, they'll move back or they'll go back, and again this will get repeated every year. Okay, that was about migrate animals. They migrate from one place to another in order to escape from harsh environmental conditions. They move away temporarily. It's a temporary change of location. And when situations are better, they'll return to their native place. So animals like birds, they move away temporarily from a stressful habitat. Anything can result in that stress. Different environmental conditions can increase the stress of that particular habitat, and then they will prefer to move a better area, more hospitable area, and they will return when here the stressful period is over in their native place. One typical example is the Siberian cranes, and from Siberia they will reach Kilado National Park, Bharatpur, Rajasthan, in order to tide over the cold conditions there in Siberia. And when the conditions are normal, or when it returns to the normal, they will again fly back. Okay. What is the time? The time is still 3:40, no? So that's enough. Have you understood? And children, don't make me say this every now and then. Michael, Anna, Anthony, Naureen, Nia. Nia, why don't you join from the other device? Okay, let me take the attendance. See you next class.